Welcome to the Girlfriend's Guide to Senior Living. I'm Gail Peacock.
And I'm Lori Williams.
And we are so happy you could join us. We're passionate about helping families navigate the senior living maze. Each episode, we will share with you our knowledge of senior living and help you to eliminate the uncertainties you face in the search for senior resources.
Hey girlfriends, welcome back to our show. We're so glad you're here, and today we're feeling the holiday spirit a little bit, so we wore our holiday shirts, so happy holidays.
Jingle those bells.
So today in this episode we're going to cover Alzheimer's and dementia. We're going to define it, talk about what the symptoms are, how it's diagnosed, and then in part 2 we're going to cover treatments that are available and also tips on coping with behavior and just personality changes.
So obviously we could literally spend a whole week talking about Alzheimer's and dementia. And all the different ways that it affects people. So dementia is the umbrella, if you will, and Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. It's the most common, and that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes, and we found this really cool graphic that explained this. It was kind of funny because we were defining it as an umbrella, and then lo and behold, there was this graphic that popped up. Oh, here it is.
Look at how beautiful that is.
Dementia is the umbrella term for many different diseases. So you have dementia, and then Alzheimer's underneath it, and Parkinson's and other ones. So for today, we're talking about Alzheimer's. So we love this. We kind of put this together that Alzheimer's disease, so kind of stay with us here. Alzheimer's disease is always dementia, but dementia is not always Alzheimer's disease. So for example, you may have skin cancer, but you wouldn't say, I have cancer and skin cancer. You know, that would just sound kind of silly.
Duplicating
Yeah, so
yes.
Why would you say I have Alzheimer's and dementia? No. So it's just Alzheimer's if that's what you've been diagnosed with.
Definitely. So let's kind of give you a definition of what Alzheimer's actually is. Keep in mind that we are not Professor Proton. And we are not Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy. So just work with us here. So we found a website, kindlycare.com. They define Alzheimer's as a degenerative, yes.
There you go. You got it.
Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I left her hanging.
Okay, so degenerative disease of the brain that gradually impacts a person's memory, causes confusion, disorientation, and other thought processes and problems with communicating.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, the science part goes like way over our heads. So, for our purposes, we're just going to talk about how it has affected our loved ones. We've had family members with dementia, and then how it's affected and how we've interacted with families who are on the same journey with dementia, Alzheimer's.
And each of them are a little bit different.
Yeah.
So don't forget about our Aunt Sally.
Yeah, everyone's journey is a little different. So just because your Aunt Sally wandered, she had dementia and she wandered, it doesn't mean that your neighbor is also going to wander. So everyone's a little bit different.
Yes. So we're going to also talk about the 3 stages. So there's early and the middle and the late. So we're going to talk about the early signs of Alzheimer's. So remember our 3 A's that we talked about in one of our earlier episodes, which is being aware, acknowledging, and action. So let's remember, Alzheimer's is a disease that is progressive over time. So you may start to see that you're needing more help with like just completing daily tasks that you might have at hand.
Yeah, and so some of those, and actually the first one we usually see is the medication part of it. So taking medication, so maybe Dad always took his medication like he should, but now he's either forgetting it or he's taking it 2 and 3 times a day. I mean, both will cause a problem, a big problem. So maybe he's not even renewing his medication. So, you know, there's that too. And then the other thing we see would be paying bills. And so again, there's a good example. Dad always was on time paying his bills. He prided himself on that. And now he's forgetting to pay them, or worse, he's paying them 2 and 3 times. And that causes a huge nightmare.
And trying to figure that out is a nightmare too.
Yeah, exactly.
Another one is proper nutrition. So a lot of times they either forget to eat or they they think that they ate already and they really haven't eaten yet. So their nutrition obviously then makes them weak, and it makes all those different effects on them. Or leaving things on the stove, so they start like some soup or something, and then they forget that they even put it on, and so then that can cause obviously
fire.
Major issues. So those are some other kind of things to watch out for. Another one would be confusion. So where they put their keys, maybe they put them in a really random spot and they can't find them, like in the washer. I mean, really random places. And then, so one of my little stories about my grandmother who had Alzheimer's was she put the milk in the pantry instead of in the refrigerator. And so she went to drink it, and obviously it was all curdled and nasty. And so she couldn't figure out what the problem was. So again, kind of nutrition too, but it's obviously you don't want to drink that.
She could become sick.
But those, are part of those problems.
The other thing that you may run into, same questions over and over. And I was telling Gail years ago, we had just a precious family member who would come to our house and visit my husband and I, and we had these cabinets that had like the fake greenery. It looks so beautiful. So all our fake greenery, and every time she would come in, she would sit down at the table and she would say, "How do you get up there to water those plants?" And so we'd say, "Nanny, they're not real, they're fake." And then 2 minutes later, "So who waters those plants? How do you get up there?" And it was just over and over and over. And I mean, she didn't live with us, so it was precious.
Yeah,
but
by the eighth time, not so precious.
See, if you're a caregiver, family member, probably, not as precious.
Get a little on your nerves.
Exactly.
Difficult with directions is kind of impactful in our world. So my grandmother was known for making banana bread, and so she would make it for anybody that would, when she'd go to visit you or when you came to visit her, she made her special banana bread. And so as Alzheimer's progressed for her, all of a sudden her bread got nasty. So at one point it was like a hockey puck, and so she would hand it to us and it would be like boom. And so we always said it would be a doorstop. So she would forget how to follow the directions, and she would forget things, and then obviously the banana bread didn't turn out the way it should be. So following directions is a hard thing. Well,
did you pretend to eat it?
No, those we would just say, we're going to put that in our suitcase and take that home.
Thank you. Yes, it looks delicious.
Break a tooth.
Other thing we see is confusion of time and place. So for example, they're waking up at 3 a.m. and thinking it's 3 p.m. when it's...
And they get dressed and they think it's...
they're all dressed, ready to go, and then maybe they're calling you saying, "Hey, I thought you were coming over," and you're like, "It's 3 in the morning."
Yes.
It's a very, very common. Also, maybe starting to not recognize grandkids. It's usually first would be grandkids are not recognizing, and then later on not recognizing their children.
Or they can't remember the name of the grandkids, and they kind of fumble with the names.
Confusing them, things like that.
Do you not call your kids the wrong names? I do it all the time. Sorry. Okay, so other changes that we see is in personalities and behavioral changes. So we're going to kind of talk about that. So behavioral changes are like getting upset really easily, being worried and really worried, like, where are the kids? They're not home yet from school, like really concerned, getting angry really, really easy, and also showing signs of depression. Yeah.
The other thing, we see this all the time, they hide things and forget they hid them, or they think someone's stealing. Oh, someone broke into my apartment and they stole my remote control. I mean, they didn't, but
and
that's
who would want that? Like,
exactly.
Who wants my
random?
Remote?
Your remote control, but they left your nice TV.
And their personality, like we were saying, they're so worried that someone stole it and upset. It's not just something you can pacify.
No, because they're how you would feel if someone stole something. You're very upset. That's how they are. They genuinely believe this happened, or they feel like someone may be hiding in their apartment. Someone's coming in and out of it, and that's a terrifying feeling if you
Definitely.
think about that, because they are truly in
believing
that experience.
Yes.
Believing that's happened. And then of course wandering around their apartment or house and getting lost in their own home.
Sad.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of them are pacers, and so they just literally will pace all the time. So if they're at home or in a community, they'll just keep pacing, and that's just kind of one of their symptoms that they have, and something that you just have to go with, and that would be another sign as well.
Exactly. Another big one is they may stop caring about their appearance. So they're not bathing properly. Maybe they're not changing their clothes or wearing the same clothes for a week. Very common, not brushing their teeth. Those are all behaviors that we see, and there's so many, but those are probably the most common. We could go on and on and on, but those would be the most common.
So let's jump to how we get diagnosed, right? So we're seeing these signs. Usually a doctor will do some kind of evaluation to check for signs, what the symptoms are that you're there, kind of explaining what you see. They have different medical tests, health history. They can do scans, CT scans, MRIs, looking for, make sure there's not something more at it than just your, if it is Alzheimer's, if there's tumors or anything like that.
They also have tests that they do to check cognitive and memory skills, and one of the tests we were going to do it, we're going to Gail do it. Let's see how she does. It's called the clock test. So go Gail.
This is my clock. So they will ask you, and I don't know how good I can do this, but they will ask you to where the 12 goes, right? Where will the 6 go? Talk about where the 3 goes, where the 9 goes. And so they literally will go and progress on, and then they'll say, show me what 2 o'clock looks like. And you have to draw it on the clock. So that's just a little snippet for you.
So that's the clock test.
There's also problem solving tests that they do. And obviously all these tests, nothing is perfect and, fail safe, if you will. If you can't hear well or follow the directions, all these are hard to do, really.
It's a lot of factors involved. Also, attention span. Maybe they don't have that anymore. I know. I may have just had it.
And another one is a memory test. So we were talking about, remember back in the day when you went to all those bridal showers and they would open the diaper bag?
Baby showers.
Baby shower, sorry.
She got a little ahead of herself there.
Yes, we don't want to do that. And they would put all the stuff out that you put in the diaper bag, and then they would cover it up, and you had to write down all the things that were in there. So it's memory tests like that. So they'll say, boom, look at it, and then boom, covered up.
I was terrible at that.
I don't have much memory skills.
I've got a baseline, not good. Counting skills, so like sequential counting, like 5, 7, 9, what comes next. Again, that's not going to be, math's not my friend, so that could be a problem.
Those are just a few of the tests that you might be able to either have dealt with or will if you see this episode and it kind of rings some bells for you. So we all know that Alzheimer's affects many families, and our mission is just to shed some light on this disease. Again, it's all about becoming aware that there's an issue, acknowledging that there's a problem, and then taking action, which is our 3 A's again. Be sure to tune into our part 2 that we continue this discussion on Alzheimer's, and we learn what the treatments are that are available, and some tips on how you can take the fear out of this disease. And be sure to tune in next time. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Be sure and invite your friends. We love y'all's feedback, and we want you to, keep sharing the information. And then also watch for us, Girlfriends on the Road. Especially next week, we'll be putting stuff on our Facebook, but we're going to start hitting some different communities and different places, so you can learn a little bit more and kind of see what we're doing out in the community. So thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As your girlfriends, we'd love to hear from you. Each episode will feature new questions. Don't keep it a secret. Share us with your friends. We're on Facebook, YouTube, podcast platforms, and even in your Alexa. See you.